You're now live. Whoa!
Hey guys, can you hear us now?
Can you hear us now?
Somebody just let us know if you can actually hear our voices this time, because we were having a bit of difficulty with the volume. So if you can let us know if you hear us, that would be great.
All right.
Hey!
Oh.
Hey, Dark Shark, hey!
We can hear now. All right. Excellent, excellent. They can hear us now.
Oh, yes. Yay!
Okay. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much.
Sorry about that, guys. So sorry.
Oh, wow. So welcome to the new normal. We're so glad you hung in there with us, and we are all good now. So just want to hope your new normal, right? And it's not so new anymore, but hope you're making the best of it. Making the best of it is not an easy time, but hope you are making the best of it.
I think you should share that quote you were trying to share when they couldn't hear us, because it was a good quote.
All right. So Helen Keller said, "It's better to be blind than to have eyes and cannot see." In saying that, during this time, the challenges are so great, it can blind us to some of the good things that are happening. And so we want to make sure that we try to make the best of this time. And there are some good things, like being with your family more, that this time has given us. And so I have certainly embraced that. There are some people who say, "Oh, I can't believe my wife is driving me crazy." I love my wife. I can't spend enough time with her.
He has to say that.
Yeah, so good. So just amazing. We're so excited about our guest today, and we probably should go ahead and try to invite her.
Can I do a cheer?
Oh, can you do it? Can you work it? I see you. I see. Work it.
I'm trying to give a hint, right? So it's okay. But anyway, I am going to go ahead and get our guest on. You keep talking for a second. I just saw her pop up here, so
yes.
I am coming for you right now.
Good. Excellent.
There she is.
Okay, very good.
Okay. Where are you, Jessica?
All right. So you know half of it. Her first name is Jessica, and she is joining us today. She is a great friend who has been associated with us for some time. And so we, good.
We're looking for Jessica now, so I'm just trying to get her on. There she is.
There we go.
Go live with Jessica.
All right.
Hey, so we're just waiting for her to get in here, guys.
Good. We are connected now. Wow. Can you hear me?
I sure can.
Hi, Jess.
Hi, guys. It's so nice to see you. It's weird being on the other side of this. I'm so used to being the one who asks all the questions.
Yes. So we get a chance to.
We'll be nice to you, we promise.
Yeah.
No problem.
All right. That's amazing.
So how are you doing?
It's been the question of the year so far. I'm good. I choose no other option than to power forward in stressful situations, and this one has been beyond testing. It's one of those things where I made a conscious choice to lean all the way into doing what I had within my power to help other people, whether that was just private conversations, bringing people on the show to help inspire others, or even just let them know that somebody else feels the way that they do. I'll be honest, I'm tired, but I think it's a luxury to be tired, and I've worked really hard to get to the point where I can be this tired. But I'm getting through. Every day is its own adventure.
It's a luxury to be tired. Wow. That's beautiful.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So, Jess, can I ask you, is there anything that you're doing differently, with this new normal that we're calling it right now, the new normal? I know life has changed for so many of us, but have you taken up any new hobbies or anything different that you haven't done in the past?
I think I've really enjoyed the quiet. I'm one of those people that is always on the go. I'm either at level what I call like 15 or I'm asleep. There's no in between. So I've really found some peace in being still and being quiet and enjoying simple things like going for a walk. I adopted a dog the May long weekend. So that's been a journey for the two of us. I live out here by myself. I'm originally from Ontario. So not being able to travel or not knowing when you're able to travel, I was kind of like, okay, well, what can I do to keep my peace while I'm here? You know, I have a great network here, but while I'm here by myself, so to speak, and how can I, you know, really make sure that when I'm not at work, I'm unplugging. So I've enjoyed the little things. It sounds so simple. And I at a certain point was like, this can't be this easy, but it really is as simple as going for a walk, taking the time to be quiet, having a day where I hate the idea of being lazy and just sitting on the couch and binging a show, you know, whether it's like Netflix or whatever it happens to be. But I took those days. I think that's why I was a cheerleader for as long as I was, because I'm either again at that level up here or I'm asleep. So it has been the best way to force me to have some chill, so to speak.
I won't tell my girls that you have a dog. Everybody is adopting dogs or buying dogs right now.
Oh, I know.
On us, wanting to get at least our youngest
on her.
Please, can we get a dog? Can we get a dog? Can we get a dog? And our oldest daughter is allergic. So it's like, tough. Really do that right now.
It's tough. I've been thinking about it for years when I moved out here originally, and I have been looking and looking and looking, and I can't. Her name is Eileen. That was her name when I got her. So I was like, why change it? She's 3. So I think in dog years, we almost average out at the same age. And I got ridiculously lucky. She's perfect. You know, we fit together really well. She helps me relax, and it helps me when we're out be really vigilant of everything around me. She enjoys the little things like squirrels and birds. I enjoy the little things like being outside in the fresh air.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Good stuff. Good to hear that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You mentioned cheering, but the people out there really don't know who you cheered for. Yeah.
I was beyond blessed. I remember I saw the kind of email come out from my university dance team about the Toronto Argonauts cheer team has auditions coming up. And I was like, well, you know, I'm more of a hip hop dancer. I don't go in the air. Like, Lord knows I stay firmly on the ground. But I figured, you know what have you got to lose? I didn't tell anybody I was going. My mom drove me down. So unprepared. I knew that I had to have a headshot and my registration fee. And that was it. I didn't think I'd make it past the first round. And then I did. And I called my mom. I was like, I think I'm going to be here all day. Could you bring me like a bagel or something? I really wasn't prepared. And that was 9 years later. The rest was history. A Grey Cup champion in 2012. I have my ring with me. I brought it with me when I flew out here. But it was the best experience, the absolute best experience. It's one of those things that has helped me as not only as a professional, but as a person from day one, from when I walked into that audition room and saw such a diverse group of really intelligent and strong and powerful women. And I was like, okay, this is where I want to spend some time.
Well, I didn't realize that you were there for 9 years, Jess.
9 seasons. I say forever and a day I was there. I grew up with that team. I graduated university and then I auditioned for the team, and throughout my kind of career journey, cheerleading and the Argos were there for me and a really big part of why I am here and why I am, you know, the journalist I think I am today. I volunteered for every morning show media appearance, every public speaking appearance. This is like the greatest networking tool. I can meet all these people. I can do all these wonderful things. And I can also do it with some of my very best friends and get to, you know, share those memories with some people that have become very special in my life.
That's awesome. That's beautiful.
You know, the wonderful thing is you said intelligent, strong, and powerful women. You know, to the lay world, they're beautiful, right?
Yes.
And what I found is that our cheerleading team are our secret weapon. They are probably the most powerful group that we have in terms of going out into the community. You represent our community so well. You do more promotional things for the club, charitable and otherwise, than the players do themselves. And that's one thing that people don't often know. And not only that, you do it better than the players. And they
I mean, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but toot. We definitely get out there. It's one of those. I'm a people person. I find I am at my best when I'm around people. I'm engaging with people. So the fact that I got to do that and get to know my community, and it's not just Toronto. You're all over the GTA. I've been from, Napanee to, oh my goodness, we've been up north, we've been down south, we've been everywhere, and it's a situation where you really get to become the best version of yourself. So we've had women on the team that have been teachers, getting into kind of doctorates and all these different facets of different industries. And you can kind of tailor the engagements that you do with the team to those specific things. So I knew that media was the journey that I wanted to take. So I said, sign me up for every public speaking engagement, the Huddle Up Against Bullying program, everything, every morning show appearance. It's become a blessing in disguise, because now I get up what is technically in the middle of the night for work, and I call it game day ready very quickly.
All right, game day ready. I love it.
That's awesome. So Jess, you are out in Saskatchewan, correct?
Mm-hmm. I am. In Rider Nation, I'm completely on the opposite side.
Yes.
So how are things in Saskatchewan in regards to the pandemic and everything? Like, what are your numbers like out there? Are things a little more calmer there than they are here in?
We're doing not bad. It's relative to the population size. It's kind of broken up into a couple different categories. So we have the far north and the north. So if people were ever kind of questioning kind of how it's all broken up, and then you have central portions and southern Saskatchewan. But we've been doing not bad. I have to say, I have to give the province full credit, and everybody here full credit, for really leaning into trying to make this situation as smooth as possible to get to that place where we can all kind of have some new sense of normal. I think we are in stage 4.2 out here. So a large number of things are open. We're still not having concerts, and we're still not having traditional concerts. There have been a couple of drive-in concerts where people are in their cars, but no sports and things like that. So it is tough when this province, like the heartbeat of it really is sports and football to a very large extent. And numbers, we've had a couple of bumps up in numbers, but relatively speaking, in relation to the rest of the country, we're doing not too bad. People seem to be doing what they can to stay safe. And I always say to people, you have to protect yourself first before you can protect anybody else. Protect your own peace before you can protect anybody else. I know what I'm comfortable with. So I have masks. I have a couple of local companies. They make these really beautiful masks. So I have those. I have the paper ones. So when I'm at the grocery store and in situations like that, I toss on my mask. If I'm out for a walk with my dog and I'm by myself, I leave it off. But if it comes down to where we have to wear them, I have no problem doing that. They make all kinds of fancy ones now. I've seen ones that have like sequins on them, and the cheerleader in me likes the sparkle. So I don't mind. But we're doing okay here, relatively speaking.
Okay, very good.
Excellent. Well, one of the listeners, or one of the people who joined us today, asked, "What has cheerleading done to help you help provide success in your career?"
It has given me the confidence to walk into any room. I'll never forget. I was at a speaking engagement, and you were there, Michael, to do kind of like the big talk, and it was this kind of chant that you had going, and you said to everybody, "It's I am somebody." So I'm a somebody. You're a somebody, and everybody out there, you are all individually your own, superpower inside. So cheerleading gave me the confidence to be able to perform under enormous amounts of pressure. So when the pandemic hit and when the Black Lives Matter kind of movement reignited, it was like this situation where there was so much happening around me, but I still had to perform, whether that was for the show or in the community, because I took what I learned from working with the Argos and working with the community and brought that here. But it taught me how to keep my composure and continue to be not only sympathetic and empathetic while doing my job and representing my station and myself, but also to connect with people, because outside of being a journalist, I'm a human being who's experiencing this as well, and in a province that I'm not originally from, without access to immediate families. So cheerleading taught me to really hold my ground in spite of the fires, relatively speaking, going on around me. So it's, performing. As a captain on the team too, you have to be able to, regardless of what's the noise happening around you, keep it composed for the people that are looking at you to lead them. So whether that is the team as in my team at work, or that my team as in the people that watch us, and trust us every single day. So I took what I learned from cheerleading as far as being able to compose myself and show them that not only am I a journalist, but I'm a human being who's also experiencing this with you as well. And I will cheerlead with you, I will cry with you, I will talk with you, and I will also give you the information you need to stay safe.
So when people look at you, right, they see the made up version here. But did you ever have any image issues? Be they physical or mental, around race, things related to race?
Absolutely. I remember even just thinking about auditioning for the cheer team, I was like, oh man, I was like, I don't know if they're going to take somebody like me. I've seen diversity there, but I didn't know if they would take a woman of color who didn't have straight hair. Because not that I don't want to, but it's just, this is so much easier. This takes me 5 minutes and I'm out the door. It's not so much a statement of any kind. It is just straight up the easiest thing for me to do. But the Argos were really the first organization that I felt I could truly be myself, as far as what I looked like, what I sounded like. I again I have a lot of energy, so it can be overwhelming sometimes. So, it's the first place that really let me be myself and encourage me to use that as a platform, because there might be one person watching, a little girl or a little boy, who sees you, and that's the impact that's going to change their life, or tell them that they can do something that they want to do. And then getting into media, it was also something that really concerned me, because I'd seen people of color, men and women, but not really a whole bunch in Canada anyways, that had natural hair. So I always, worried and talked to other people in the industry, because I've been volunteering for so long and working weekends and those shifts that nobody wanted to work, in an attempt just to get some kind of traction. I was like, maybe it's because of what I look like. Maybe it's because I sound how I'm supposed to sound. I've put in the man hours. I've put in the blood, sweat, and tears, but maybe my look is just that much out of that non-traditional category. And I've been turned away from jobs because of what I look like, and I've been accepted for jobs because of what I look like. But it was really once I got out to Saskatchewan and working for CTV Regina here, where I realized that there is power in uniqueness, and there's power in what sets you apart. And I had a viewer send me a message. It wasn't that long ago, and it just stopped me right in my tracks. It was a woman, her daughter's about 13 or 14. And she said she loves watching the news, which is odd for a girl who's maybe 13 or 14 and watching the morning news. And she said that she watches you every day, and she loves that you wear your hair the way that you do, because she's trying to figure out how to tame her hair. We've tried all these different products. We've tried all these different things. And I said, I have been there. I am still there. This is what I use. This is the exact order that I use it in. Please tell her that she is beautiful regardless. And it starts inside. And I still have days where I wish I could run my fingers through my hair and they didn't get stuck. I still have days where I wish, once the ponytail went up, it could come back down. But I also, realized that it is part of my superpower. It is where I keep, my energy starts from the top down, and that literally is from the top down. And I like to be able to help at least that one person. It's always going to be a little bit challenging to find your own lane regardless of what you're doing. And there are still days where, I feel subconscious. I walk on camera and there's like a curl that just decides to stick straight up as I, walk on there, and you can't fix it once you're on camera. So I've just embraced it and tried to continue to grow. It is a journey that I think goes on forever as far as acceptance goes with yourself, because as you grow up and as you age, you change, right? Your hair changes. My hair, I haven't had a haircut in 9 months. So there's a lot more hair than there usually is, but at the same time, it is my biggest identifier. So with cheerleading, it was always, that's that girl with the hair. People didn't know my name. And I said, well, that's my introduction. My name is Jess. It's so nice to meet you. Or even here, I was at the dollar store the other day, fully masked up, and an older gentleman was like, aren't you that girl from the news? And I said, yes, sir, I am. I am. And it was a great conversation. So, there have been times where I've encountered racism and encountered people making off-color comments, but I've tried in each moment to either make it a teachable one for them or myself, because either way, someone's going to have to learn a lesson. So it's either how I react to them or they react to me moving forward, or somebody like me.
I love the journey that you've been on with and how you relate everything back to cheerleading. Mm-hmm. To ask, what made you want to try out? What made you want to become a cheerleader? And did you think when you were going out for that first audition for the art, did you think that that journey would bring you to the place where you are now?
Not at all. If you had asked me, in 2008, when I initially auditioned, that it would be so impactful on me moving forward, I would have said, no way, it's just cheerleading. It's just dancing. You know what I mean? You just show up, you do your job, and you go home. But I, on a whim, decided to audition. I was like, you know what? I just graduated university. I'm still hustling, trying to get internships and doing all these different things. Why not? I love to dance. My university dance team, I actually almost didn't make it because I danced staring at the floor because I was just so nervous and so self-conscious. So it was, something where I'm like, you know what, I want to try this out. In the worst case scenario, I don't make it, and then that's okay. But I had seen a woman on the team who had hair kind of like me. So I said, okay, at least they take people that look like me. I have a shot when it comes to that. And then I have learned so many different things when it comes to perseverance, self-confidence, living in your truth, and using what makes you unique as your superpower moving forward. And even I've had a couple mentors in the media industry say, keep what makes you unique at the forefront. Don't stifle what you have because you're trying to fit into what lane you think you have to fit into. The world is changing, and we're seeing wonderful things happen out of some really, heartbreaking and terrible situations as of late for people of color. But it's an ongoing journey. So for me, everything kind of comes back to football and that mindset and that game day mindset, because it is also relative to everyday life. You have to go out there and perform. You have to go out there and support the people around you, whether that's your community, holding the door for somebody, making sure that your neighbor is okay because they live by themselves. I had people that live, where I live in my building here, check on me to see if I was okay because they know that I live here by myself. So I said, you know what, I'm going to make sure I check in on my team, which is the people that live around me, the community that is the CFL community out here that has embraced me and made sure that I was okay and let me be my ridiculous football fan self that I am. And I equate everything back to that team mentality. And that's that saying that was at that speech that Michael made, that I am somebody, and I have the power to impact, at least one person. If that's not the person watching on the screen, it's the person walking down the street that might be having a terrible day. A smile has so much power. And that is my superpower from cheerleading, is because I can't always talk to people in the stands. I can smile and make that connection with a little girl, a little boy, a lifetime fan. You see those people that have been, diehard fans of the CFL and the Argos for years and years, and they still check up on me, which is blows me away. I'm like, I'm just Jess, I'm just a girl from like small town Ontario, but it has really impacted my life so much in the fact that it's networking, connections, people that I've been able to lean into for my professional career, for interviews, for inspiration, for just conversations. So it has become, the topic of conversation that's almost like my icebreaker for people is football and cheerleading. So I can say, if we don't have anything else in common, I can talk to you about football.
So Jess, now that's beautiful. First of all, you do know that you're intimidating, huh?
I've had people say that to me before, and I always, I don't know, I feel like I'm constantly like on this, I'm in this zone. I call it like my game day, like tunnel zone, where I assume everybody I meet is my friend. And, you know, if not, I'm going to, you know, find a way to connect with you. And then we're going to keep on this journey together. But I don't see it, but I appreciate it.
Let me go a little bit further then. So you have this, the energy that you have is, you know, just almost inexplicable, and that to go with your look, right? You are a beautiful woman, and so when you combine those two, right, it really is hard not to have an ego, and you don't. And so where does that kindness come from?
I am blessed with two incredible parents. Shout out to Nancy and Carlton. I think they're trying to watch this on my mom's Instagram, and my sister and my family are watching as well from back home in Ontario. It is, hi everybody, and my friends too. It's coming from humble beginnings and knowing that, you know, they have worked so hard to get to where they get to, and it's the same for me. It's, this journey has been one that I've thought about quitting multiple times. I thought about, you know, what else can I do? Because it just wasn't happening. And when it finally did, and the journey is far from over, it's one of those things where I am just like a small part of a puzzle that is like the fabric of this world. And I want to make my impact one that is positive on everybody that I meet. And it's hard to explain, but, you know, my parents are the hardest working and kindest people that I know. And they got it started with my brother and I early. My dad came from Jamaica to England to Canada. My mom has been on her own. Her parents moved to the States when she was about 15, 16. So she's been on her own since then and making it work. So, you know, they both have this mindset of, you know, you find a way to make it work regardless of what's going on. And, you know, when it comes to at the end of the day, as long as there is love, that's really all that matters. You know, you can be tired, but there's love. You can be, you know, frustrated, but there is love. And my parents got us into acting. My brother and I were into acting a little bit as kids. And my mom always said, if you can walk into a room and audition for a role, you can walk into, you know, any job you want and ask for that job and tell them, this is why you should hire me. This is what, you know, I have to offer. I am special. I am unique, but I also know that I have a lot to learn and that nobody is perfect. So it is a blessing that comes from my mom and dad. So a big shout out to Nancy and Carlton.
All right. As you were talking, Jess, it reminded me of a quote that says, we are only in control of two things: how we prepare for what might happen and how we respond to what just happened. The moment when they do happen belong to God. And you have prepared, you were there when your opportunity came, you were ready because you put all this time in. So I just want to congratulate you for that, because you really are such an example to so many young people, and not just young people, more specifically young Black girls, right? Who you just said there are not many examples, right, of them on television that they can look up to. So I just want to say kudos to you for that, and we appreciate you for that. Keep being a shining example, because you're doing a fabulous job right now.
Y'all are gonna make me cry. Thank you.
We were so proud of you, and just keep up the good work. But I do want to ask, being a young Black journalist, and you're new at this because you haven't been doing it for that long.
Yeah.
Someone that you look up to, that you've said you've watched on television and said, oh my goodness, you know, I love that person. I want to be like them. I want to be on that show. You know, is there anyone that you looked up to like that?
There are a few people. I was fortunate enough to meet Nathan Downer when I was doing Argo's promos, like, over the years, and he became a great mentor of mine. It was one of the first people that told me to not change what I look like. So to not change my hair. I'd sent in a demo. It was awful. Looking back now, it's like, oh my goodness, like, wow. But my hair was only down in one of them. And I used to feel really self-conscious about it because it doesn't quite blow in the wind the same way as everybody else's hair does. And, you know, I just thought maybe it was easier to kind of have this like slicked back look. But he was very encouraging for me to be myself. And Kayla Gray, I love her confidence. She's a woman that is, you know, just completely and authentically herself. And she's been such a champion in the past couple of months, especially with the Black Lives Matter movement. And, you know, I had a great conversation with my news director out here where I said, you know, I want to be vocal and I want to share my experiences, but I'm really afraid. I said, it has taken me so long just to get to this point. And I'm afraid that if I'm vocal, I'll be seen as an angry Black woman, or I'll be seen as someone who, you know, is just angry at the world. And he said, you know, and that's a problem right there, that you even, you know, feel that way. He's like, you know, you can say what you want, do what you want, you know, obviously think about the impact you're having, because, you know, every word is dissected and every post is dissected. But, you know, use your platform and use what makes you unique and use, you know, your energy to engage with people. So it's between Nathan and Kayla that it has been, you know, these two examples of people that are uniquely and authentically themselves. And I remember, you know, when I first got into the job here, I was like, what am I getting myself into? I'm moving to this place where I don't think anybody else looks like me. I'm by no means am I the first person of color on television in Saskatchewan, but I am the first Jessica Smith. So it's definitely, you know, been a learning experience for me. I've had to, you know, answer some challenging questions from coworkers, from viewers, and you get messages from people. You're going to get the negativity regardless of where you live. And I, you know, my eyes were opened when I moved to Saskatchewan as to how accepting, open, and how multicultural it really is out here. Until I lived here, I really had no idea. I'd only been here once for Grey Cup in 2013 when they won, so everybody was in a great mood. But it's, you know, when you run into somebody on a Tuesday afternoon and when they've had a bad day, that you really kind of see who they are. And I've been nothing but impressed and you know, welcomed and just grateful for the interaction with the people I've had out here over the past 3.5 years.
I want to remind you that you create a lot of that. Yeah, a lot of that comes from your makeup, your disposition, and how you embrace it. And so continue to do so.
Yeah. So just what's one thing that you're most proud of?
Whew, that is challenging. I think career-wise, just this experience as a whole, like it is, I was at the point where I was ready to switch gears or do something else because it just wasn't clicking. I had people telling me that I have all this potential and I have all this energy and it just would work so well, but it just wasn't happening. And then I applied for a job in Yorkton, Saskatchewan with CTV. So that's kind of in southeastern Saskatchewan. If you look it up on a map, it's a little place, little wonderful place. Never thought I'd get a call back. And then I did. And, you know, after a half-hour conversation, they said, you know, we'll call you back in the next couple of days. And 15 minutes later, I got a phone call offering me a job and the chance to change my life and uproot my life. And I said, I'm not saying no, but I'm going to need 5 minutes. I'm going to have to call you back in 5 minutes. And I hung up the phone and just burst into tears because it was this release of, you know, this is going to happen. And I said, you know, I'm going to say yes, but I need 1 extra week because it was Grey Cup 2016 in Toronto. And I said, I've been here a very long time and I need to tie a proper bow on this, on the experience that this has been. And they said, okay, no problem. We understand. I said, you'll get it even more once I get there and you see how much I love football. And I think just the experience of becoming or starting the journey of becoming the journalist that I want to be and the woman that I want to be, this has shown me how strong I am. I never really thought I could do this. And there have been moments where I'm like, how do you function, you know, at a high level as a professional, as a person, as a woman, as a friend, you know, as a sister, as an aunt, as a daughter. So this experience as a whole has really shown me that, you know, it's through the time that you are tested the most that shows you how powerful you really are. and the fact that you still have more to grow.
Right.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
Now, you mentioned acting a little bit. How did you act? Like, give it, like, expand, brag a little.
So some TV and commercial work. My brother and I started that when we were both pretty young. And again, it was more, my parents were super into us having extracurricular activities. So you're busy, you can't get in trouble. So it was piano, taekwondo. It was Kumon, like a math, kind of program that we were into. It was every kind of camp you could imagine, dance, and then acting. We were both very energetic kids. We had a lot of, that's my mom right there, Macaulay 53. Hi, Mom. She got us into acting when we were pretty young. So with some, TV and commercial work, there was one with an actress called Gloria Rubin, Into My Heart. I had a very small speaking role in that one. I was in a Kellogg's kind of commercial where I was playing soccer. I remember being so embarrassed because my mom said, "You're going to wear your soccer uniform to the audition." And I said, no one else is going to wear it. Like, come on. I don't want to be that one kid who shows up. But Nancy knows best, and I showed up in the uniform that I had for my soccer team, and I got the gig, and it ended up being this national campaign. I was on these little cards that were inside cereal boxes for a little while, and it was a really great experience to show you that you can, as nervous as you can be, walk into a room and perform. It's and be yourself, and then be a version of yourself. So they want you to take on a role, but be a version of yourself. So we got into commercials. Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen, they did a lot of those made for TV movies. So I'm in a couple of those in the background, or just, with that one line that says, I'm like, hi. And that was it. But it was a really cool experience, and it helped pay for a little bit of that first year of university as well. So, because school is expensive, but necessary. So it definitely helped with that first semester of kind of getting myself settled.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Now, is there a chance, like, would you ever move back to Ontario?
Well, I have a very exciting announcement. I officially accepted, and I put it out on social media yesterday, but I've officially accepted a job back in Ontario with CTV Kitchener. It's exciting. I had, really settled. I never thought I would fall in love with Saskatchewan the way that I have, and the people here, and the football culture here, and I was settled. I got my dog, I was really I volunteered for like 5 different things over the summer because football right now is on hold. So I'm like, all right, let me lean into some of these different community events. And I saw the posting, and I was like, why not? Why not? And then they called me, and we had this wonderful interview. It's 2 women, which is a really cool experience as well, to have 2 female bosses. And they called me on Canada Day, and I said yes. And then I called my mom, and she immediately she knew that I had the interview, of course, my mom and dad, and they've been wonderful. And thank goodness for technology keeping us connected during, COVID, not being able to travel. And I said yes. So I start beginning of August as a reporter and weekend weather anchor. So it's kind of that perfect mix of being able to tell people's stories and still, have that ridiculous energy that I have in the mornings when it comes to weather, and telling you with a smile that it's going to be -40 with the wind chill here in the winters.
Oh, right. Well, we have your double blue gear ready for you.
Oh, I brought a lot of it with me. Trust me. I'm like, might have or not brought a flag with me when I moved out here. It was up in my office, in Yorkton. And people are well aware. I took on the role of a pregame party in the park host with the riders. They're like, we know you're an Argos fan, in your heart, but would you be interested in working with the riders? And I said, absolutely. You give me a microphone and you let me talk about football, I'm in. And the fan base out here, it really helped me feel like I was a part of the fabric of the community, because I told myself and my family and friends, I can't just be here and be working. It has to be more than about my job. I have to feel like I'm a part of things. Otherwise, it won't feel like home. And I can wholeheartedly say that this is my second home. I will miss it with everything in me, and I will forever have a special place in my heart for Rider Nation. It is powerful, it is beautiful, and it is accepting, and it's bittersweet. I'm so excited to come home. I'm so excited to go to more than just one Argo game a year, because I always try to plan my trips home in the summer around a football game. But it's exciting to be able to say that I'm coming home.
Awesome. All right, all right. I just want to be the first one to offer you a job to work with the game day.
Y'all, you tell me when, you tell me what time, and I'm already on my way.
Oh, that's amazing. Yes, we're so proud of you.
So
Just so much.
Other than football, what excites you the most? Like, is there anything that really, I know football is your thing, but anything that excites you other than football?
For me, it sounds really corny, but it's like getting involved in my community. I love interacting with other people. So any opportunity, whether that's just making conversation with somebody who I happen to, make eye contact with at the grocery store, now from 6 feet away, of course, or, it's hosting events or different things. That's what makes me feel like I'm most myself, is when I'm interacting with other people. So I have always tried to find ways to do that, whether that's through, now through social media and trying to use that platform to connect with different people, and, finding other women on air that have curly hair, whether that's in Canada or the US, and connecting with them and finding that way to, interact with people virtually. But it is being, with other people. And that has been really challenging as a person who is a people person in a pandemic where you physically, can't be around that many people. But I've tried to find ways to connect in virtual ways, or, from group settings where we're, following guidelines. And I have no problem shouting. Like my coach used to say, I can hear you from across the field when you're calling dances and sidelines. So, I've tried to really keep that passion going in different ways. And I've taught a few virtual classes, dance classes out here, and I'm shouting at a screen where no one can shout back because the microphones are muted so that they can hear me. But it's finding those ways to really boost my soul energy by giving to other people. That's what makes me feel good, is when I can engage with somebody else and make them smile, make them laugh, or tell them, I also don't know what's going on, but we can do it together.
Renee says you're a great choreographer and teacher too.
Thank you. She's a former cheerleader with me, and it's one of those things where I'm going to be in her wedding next year. So it's come from, and this will be the third cheerleader wedding that I'm in. We performed in the last two.
Oh, so right.
You can't have a cheerleader wedding without a performance, whether it's retired or current cheerleader. But it's one of the greatest assets of being a part of that team were the friendships that came out of it. So people that I may have never met otherwise because of just where we are, or, we come from different backgrounds. It's the best way to get to know all these different people, because you have, at a certain point, we had like a team of 36 different personalities and different backgrounds. And that was the best way to kind of get to know people that, hey, I don't really like country music, but you do, but we can connect, in the fact that we both really like to perform. I'm, really into spicy food and you're really not, but we've found ways to connect. So it's those little ways that, I've met some really important and very special people in my life.
Jess, you're so bubbly and you're so happy, and I just feel your energy coming through this, computer right now. What that, happiness, and you're so, just such a great personality. What is your deepest fear, or do you have a deepest fear?
Oh, it's a fear, I think, for me of not achieving all the things I've set out for myself. I hold myself, I feel like, sometimes to an impossible standard. But that comes from being around so many incredibly inspiring people over my time as a cheerleader and then professionally through media, that I always worry that I'm not going to achieve. It's not even necessarily a fixed goal or a fixed idea that I have, but it's this idea that, I want to be able to impact as many people as I can in a positive way. And I always worry that it's not going to quite get there. And it's also a fear of not being liked. It sounds very, very simple and maybe even trivial, but I work so hard to find a common ground with everybody. We're all going to have different things and we can agree to disagree. I'm wholeheartedly a supporter of that, but I always worry, I'm like, how, if I don't connect with somebody and they don't like me, what that says about me. But at the end of the day, not everyone's gonna like you and respond to you with that same level of energy, because it can be a lot for some people. But you know, I can find a way to at least find a common ground with them. But it's always that fear of not achieving the standard that I've set for myself, and then on the other hand, not being able to connect with people or connect with an individual. It's like, well, if we aren't connecting, what am I doing wrong? That's kind of always the thing that plays in the back of my head.
But why don't we adjust that right now from a fear to a challenge?
Mm-hmm.
Because the real challenge is not is not trying, right? So to have lofty goals is the greatest ambition, right? And to strive to achieve those. Not achieving those is not the challenge. Not trying is the challenge, right? So let's adjust that from a fear to a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's a challenge I need to work on. I know it's something that's always kind of been a thing for me, you know, coming from a place of being really self-conscious as a teenager, just trying to figure out how to make all of this work. And I have to give, my sister is a hairstylist, and she's the only person really that I've ever let do my hair. And she was a really big champion of me not changing it, not straightening it, and nothing against straightening your hair. It's just, for me, it honestly doesn't last more than like 15 minutes for all that work. So, you know, really accepting myself. So I think that is a challenge I'm going to accept and work on wholeheartedly, because it's hard.
Oh, good. I really appreciate your honesty, and I don't want to adjust something you don't want adjusted, right?
Oh.
But just we see things can often change our approach a little bit, and try to us to embrace ourselves and not be too hard on ourselves. So it's great to compete, right? And Kobe Bryant said that every challenge, right, is an opportunity for me to rise, right? And so it is not that we you know, there are always going to be challenges there, and the reality is you may go beyond that. If you stop there, that's not enough. Mm-hmm. Right? So it is that you know, continuing to rise as you go is that thing, right? And because I don't like the idea of you being fearful, right? Yeah. I like the idea of you being, because you're a go-getter. Be challenged, but not. Don't be afraid of it. Just go get it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the challenge it begins and continues as I make my way home and take on a brand new province and brand new kind of job, so to speak. I've been a reporter before, but a reporter in Saskatchewan. So now it's taking everything that I've done out here and embracing a new community and taking on those challenges and working remotely, because COVID has forced a lot of people to work remotely. So now we have these amazing kits where I don't have to ever really go into a station at all. So it's accepting that challenge and being open to making mistakes. And that is hard for me, but it's I think it shows people that everybody's human. You know, there are days I stumble over my words in the morning and I'm just like, well, I've been awake since before 3 a.m. So y'all have to bear with me.
Yes, I'm not as close to perfection as you are, and I always say I reserve the right to be wrong.
Mm-hmm. So. Absolutely. I'm working on it. I'm my own biggest critic, you know, but it's again, it's holding myself to that standard that I want to be able to be the best version of myself for other people, and to help that little girl watching who, you know, wants to wear her hair natural or wants to get into media but doesn't know if there's anybody else who looks like her. That's that pressure I put on myself, and that challenge that I walk into every single day.
Part of your greatness. Yes.
So Jess, we've so enjoyed this conversation with you today, and we have a few minutes in maybe 60 seconds or so, or 120 seconds. Yes. If we speak to our youth and just encourage them, because I'm fascinated with your journey, with your story, and can you just speak into them and just encourage them along? Because right now we at our foundation, we work with so many different diverse young people, and they're trying to figure out their past. And I find your story really fascinating. Is there something encouraging you could say to them?
There is a lane for every single person. So even if you're in a very traditional role or traditional job, there is a lane in there that is uniquely for you. So I got into media assuming you had to be, you know, this very kind of like tight, uptight kind of a way, and personality was something you couldn't mesh into the professional world. But I realized very quickly that if I want to be successful, I have to be myself. I will create what I want if it doesn't exist. Part of the reason I even got the job here is because I created game day forecasts for the Argos. I begged my coach, I said, hey, can I do this like very small social media type segment? And she said, yeah, sure. And then the Argos ended up picking it up. And that was one of the things that set me apart from the other candidates when I applied for the job here, was the level of enthusiasm and personality they saw in those, like, you know, 15, 20-second videos. So it is finding what it is you're passionate about and then finding your own lane within that, because you can be any spectrum of a person, and there's a lane for you. So if it is you want to work in as a teacher, you want to work as an executive, you want to work as a football coach, you want to work as a dance teacher, as a wedding planner, as a media professional, as a reporter, a weather anchor, there is a lane specifically for you. And there's always that idea of competition regardless of what field and industry you're getting into. But if you are true to who you are, and it sounds very simple, but there's only one version of me, and it is the same on camera as it is off camera. So I am overwhelming in a lot of respects, but that's who I am. And I have found the greatest successes I have had since becoming, you know, a full-time reporter and anchor is when I am being myself. I found my lane and I said, okay, I can do this, this, and this. This is what makes me unique. And this is what I still want to learn. So I'm going to take those two things and move forward. So find what it is you're passionate about, the industry that you want, or create it. We're in a beautiful time where, you know, social media is the greatest marketing and networking tool to connect with people who also love to do what you do. So maybe you don't know if there's a lane for what you want. You can find it. It really does exist. So take what it is that makes you special and run with it. So don't mute yourself, I guess is my biggest answer there, is don't mute yourself. I used to think, okay, I have to be quieter. I have to be, you know, less loud. I walk on camera sometimes, you know, and just a neon pink or electric blue, or I have polka dot pants, or whatever it happens to be, because that is how I like to express myself. But I found that people respond to that. You know, they can tell when you're being your authentic self. So don't mute yourself is, I think, my biggest advice going forward, and pick your lane and run with it.
You are a phenomenal woman. I like this.
No. I love it. I love it. I try my best. There's one version of me that you're going to get all the time, or I'm asleep. So there's no in between.
That's great. So I have an apology to make. Apology. You asked me a question on the air the other day, and my mind said one thing and my mouth said the other.
It happens. Happens to me almost every day.
Set me up for a question, and you asked me what would I say to people around the Black Lives Matter, right? And I said, I can't tell them, and I meant to, I meant to say that to start where you are, right? And then go on and build from there, and kind of, I had an answer built there. But what I'd like to do, though, is you've had me on twice now concerning that. As we close, Di had you talk to our youth. Now I just like you to express yourself if you have any thoughts on the Black Lives Matter.
I think it really starts with your immediate circle. It is so hard. I felt very overwhelmed when this all began, to be some kind of representative and voice, and people were reaching out to me, which was so flattering, but I felt so much pressure. But I realized the greatest impact I can have is with the people around me in those one-on-one conversations. I had a friend reach out to me from Saskatchewan, and he said, you know, he's from small town Saskatchewan. His parents, they're farmers. They have had very limited interactions with people of color, not for any particular reason. They just live in such a remote area. But he took the time to phone them, ask them if they understood what was happening, if they had any questions, and, you know, to realize that he's building a house out here, and one of his best friends who's helping him build that house is Black. And they had no idea, but they had all these questions. And it comes down to having those immediate and sometimes very uncomfortable conversations. I don't pretend to have all the answers, and I don't know if anybody really does, but all I can do is share my experiences, the experiences of my dad and my brother, and tell people that we're going to continue to learn, and we're going to continue to make mistakes. That's the beauty of living in a free world, and living in a time in history where we have unlimited access and an overwhelming amount of information. And even working in media, you know, we have to kind of cipher through all these different things, but the biggest thing you can do to have an immediate impact, and I've had friends ask me, you know, what can I do? Where can I volunteer? How can I, you know, sign a petition? Where should I donate? And I said, those are all wonderful things, but it's having, you know, just the conversations with the people that are immediately around you. Because I think, and I heard this from you, Michael, is you have to reach one to teach one, right? So you have to reach that one person. I've had some challenging experiences out here. I was in Yorkton, and it was a woman. She was, I'm going to say mature. I'm not going to say older, but she was mature, well seasoned. She had stopped me, and she turned and she said, "Oh, you're that colored girl from the TV." And it stopped me in my tracks. I'm like, I don't think I've ever heard anybody use that word in my lifetime. But I realized she was trying. It doesn't make it okay, the word that she said, and I don't think age is any excuse for ignorance, but I realized that she was trying to find the right word to say, because maybe she didn't think Black was an okay thing to say, or I am mixed race, so but I got that different kind of hair, so she wasn't quite sure what to say. So I realized in that moment, getting angry isn't going to help anybody. You know, I said, "Nope, my name is Jessica. It's so nice to meet you." And then I answered her questions, you know. So it's been an experience that is ongoing, and I've had some less than positive experiences being pulled over for no reason at all, and it's happened to my brother as well, and my dad's had some challenging situations as well. I could talk for a very long time about those, but it's having those immediate conversations with the people around you that have the biggest impacts. And then from there, it spreads, right? It's like this wonderful ripple that you can see happen and affect other people. That, you know, maybe you don't have to like me, but you have to respect me. Again, that's that football and that team mentality. We're going to all have different opinions, but it comes down to just respect from one person to another. Or, you know, we don't have to have the same opinion. I almost prefer sometimes that we don't, so that way I can learn something from somebody else. But it's about respect. That little ripple goes such a long way. It's like the pebble in the ocean, or the butterfly's wings. You know, it's one of those things where you can have such a profound impact by just talking to one person.
Well, you are a portrait, what a role model is and should be. And when you come back, right, we're so excited. We all with the foundation as well.
Absolutely.
You're so incredible, and we really appreciate our time today. It has been just an amazing hour, and we thank you so much for taking the time out, and we couldn't be more proud of you.
It has been my honor and pleasure. I said to everybody, I was like, man, I'm so nervous. I'm not used to being the one who has to answer the questions, but it is a nice change of pace, and I'm beyond blessed to say that I know you guys, and to have had this opportunity. And I'll hang up and probably have a good cry and call my mom, and it'll be great.
Yes, they say contentment is realizing your true strength. And I truly believe that you are realizing your true strength, and you're using it in a phenomenal way.
Yeah.
So Lord knows I'm trying.
Thank you for that. We thank you for that. This has been It's amazing. Like it's
Yes.
we can keep talking.
Yes.
Like at the beginning, I was like, okay, I don't know if we're gonna last an hour, and I could just keep talking and talking to you
Yes,
because
yes.
you're so easy to talk
Lord knows
to.
I can talk.
Yes.
It's one of my, I think, superpowers is the gift of conversation. That's been, again, from cheerleading. I can talk to anybody about anything. I've been coast to coast, with this journey, so I can find something in common with anybody. That's the challenge I try to make for myself when I meet new people, is how can I find something in common with this person.
That's right. Well, thank you, Jess.
beautiful.
We so love you.
Yes, and we would keep talking, but we don't want to cut off on us. We don't know exactly when it's going to do that. But a little, just another little commercial for CTV, since
Yeah.
that's who you're.
Yeah.